This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Are you going to talk to Mullen?
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
You want to?
Do you have a date set?
Here's the start, just so you understand. There's been no collusion whatsoever. There's no obstruction whatsoever. And I'm looking forward to it.
An interview with the special counsel. President Trump says he'd welcome it, but will he? And did the president try to fire special counsel last year? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the week in Washington in a moment. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. And topping our news, an elementary school custodian in Northport is behind bars after Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies discovered child pornography on his home computer. 55-year-old Robert Hudson was arrested at his home. The sheriff's office says Hudson told detectives he knew downloading child pornography was illegal. Tonight, parents at Glen Allen Elementary are worried this man was around their children.
He had access to all the children, bathrooms, you name it. That's very concerning and scary.
Hudson is on administrative leave with pay pending the outcome of that investigation. Yesterday, we learned about the rebirth of the XFL, but whatever happened with that other pro football startup from Lakewood Ranch, Major League Football? The league made a similar announcement back in 2015 and has yet to produce its first spring season. Even though they have fallen out of the spotlight, their leadership says they are still wheeling and dealing in the shadows, hoping to beat Vince McMahon to the punch maybe even later this year.
I think the announcement yesterday of XFL, getting rebooted, I think is really going to force them to make a decision about what they want to do.
Competition is what makes American business go, and hopefully we'll be up and running well long before he hits the field.
Murphy says that we should know within the next month and a half if the 2018 season will be the one for Major League Football's launch. A Bradenton man is pleading guilty to distributing fentanyl, resulting in a death. 37-year-old David Johnson faces a minimum of 20 years to life in federal prison. According to the plea agreement, Johnson distributed fentanyl, which resulted in the death of a person who was found unresponsive and later pronounced dead from fentanyl intoxication. The investigation into the victim's death identified Johnson as the Bradenton-based supplier who had sold fentanyl to the victim. An update in a Sarasota County murder investigation. An attorney for accused killer William Case has filed a motion claiming his client is incompetent to stand trial. The case is charged with the 2011 murder of Karen Quartz. Investigators say it happened at her home in Kensington Park, just north of the Bobby Jones golf course. Detectives say DNA found inside her car helped link him to the murder. Accused serial killer Howell Donaldson appeared in a Tampa courtroom today. Donaldson is pleading guilty to first-degree murder and charges of allegedly killing 4 people last year in Tampa's Seminole Heights neighborhood. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Donaldson's next court date is June. His parents were also in court facing potential charges of contempt of court for refusing to answer questions in the case. They are both due back in court next month. More than 1.5 million Floridians are currently unable to participate in elections would automatically have their voting rights restored under a proposed constitutional amendment going before voters this fall. The Voting Restoration Amendment, which was approved this week to appear on the November ballot, would automatically restore voting rights to felons who have served their sentences, completed parole and probation, and paid restitution. But murderers, sex offenders would be excluded.
Something's there now. It's on the ballot. It's number 4. It's done. That train is moving. So it's up to us to get behind that issue and make sure we get the 60% threshold.
Under a system approved in 2011 by Governor Rick Scott, felons convicted of nonviolent crimes have to wait a minimum of 5 years to have their rights restored, while others would wait up to 10 years before even being eligible to apply. The Florida House this week overwhelmingly approved a proposed constitutional amendment making it harder to raise taxes and fees. By a vote of 80 to 29, the House signed off on the proposal, which could go on the November ballot. It would require 2/3 votes by both the House and the Senate to increase taxes and fees instead of a simple majority.
You either believe that the money that the government takes from its citizens belongs to the government,
or you believe that the money that the government takes from its citizens belongs to the hardworking people who get up every day and go out and earn it.
This is a short-sighted idea. I know it sounds good to put in limitations to a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is we have a system. That system has worked. It's worked well for the people of the state of Florida.
While the measure easily passed the House, it still needs to work out the differences with the Senate before it goes before voters in November. Keep an eye out for On the Mail. Sample ballots for the February 13th special election for House 72's district were mailed out today. On the ballot are Republicans James Buchanan, Democrat Margaret Good, and Libertarian Allison Foxall. And just a reminder, the one and only debate between the candidates will be right here on ABC7 on Tuesday night, moderated by moi. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Look forward to that, Alan. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be watching that. 69 degrees right now. We have a little bit warmer tonight, although the wind is still brisk out of the east at 14. We're going to see a little calmer conditions, I think, as we head into Saturday afternoon and evening. So although it's breezy now, that east wind has actually helped us warm today to the upper 70s. The pressure, I can't believe it, continues to rise now. 30, 35. That's extremely high. And that's one of the reasons why our winds are so strong, because that high pressure is really up there, and it's really blowing a lot of moisture off to the western Gulf of Mexico right now. 19 wind, actually 19 mile an hour at Lakewood Ranch, and also 13 in Venice now, Rotunda at 12, and Northport 13 miles an hour. So a bit breezy this evening, but that's about the only downside. We'll see temperatures staying fairly mild, 62 by 11 o'clock tonight, just a few clouds around. No threat of any rainfall to worry about that until Sunday. And it looks like now Sunday midday to late in the evening, the showers will be around. What's happening is we have an upper level low, a lot of moisture coming and gathering from the south right now. It's all going to be kind of streaming in our direction. It's going to meet up with the surface low as it develops in the Gulf of Mexico and changes things around by Sunday. Now, the temperatures currently 57, the cooler reading in Jacksonville now 65 degrees. In Orlando at 69, in Sarasota 73, in Miami 72 now into Key West. And the water vapor content also starting to show increased moisture availability for these showers. So I think everyone's going to get the rain on Sunday, so your lawns will be happy.
Thank you.
Yep, it will be a little bit cooler too come mainly Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
If you could only just keep it like it was today.
It was outstanding this afternoon, wasn't it? I mean, you can't really beat it.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, the president was in Switzerland, but here in the United States, the Russia investigation continues. What is next?
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Choral Artists of Sarasota presents Carmina Burana in Motion. Carl Orff's choral masterpiece, Carmina Burana, bursts into life in this lavish production designed for 60 voices, 3 celebrated soloists, a 2-piano percussion ensemble, and dynamic premiere choreography performed by members of Sarasota Contemporary Dance. Do not miss this lush feast of the senses. Saturday, February 3rd, 4 p.m. at Church of the Palms in Sarasota. Tickets and info are at choralartistsarasota.org or by calling 941-387-4900.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
It doesn't take a scientist to cure hunger or a fancy economist to create safe housing. It takes imagination, creativity, sweat equity. When I think of kids going to school hungry, hunger, homelessness, in this land of plenty, seriously? Come on, we could fix this. Help out, or don't. The choice is yours.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
In Washington, a new firestorm is brewing over the Russia investigation. The New York Times reports President Trump ordered the firing of special counsel Robert Mueller just 1 month after Mueller was appointed to the job. Before leaving Davos today, the president pushed back, calling the report fake news. ABC's Arlette Saenz is in Washington with the latest.
In Davos, Switzerland, President Trump declared America is open for business.
Now is the perfect time to bring your business, your jobs, and your investments to the United States.
But back home, a new bombshell in the Russia investigation awaits. The New York Times reports last June, the president asked White House counsel Don McGahn to fire special counsel Robert Mueller. The president reportedly told associates he thought Mueller had conflicts of interest. According to the Times, the president relented after McGahn threatened to quit, arguing such a move would have a catastrophic effect on Mr. Trump's presidency. Before leaving Davos, the president pushed back.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
What's your message today?
Typical New York Times fake stories.
The president's White House lawyer for the Russia probe declined to comment out of respect for the office of the special counsel and its process. The president has previously said ousting Mueller isn't on the table.
Mr. President, have you thought or about or considered leading the dismissal of the special counsel? Or is there anything that Bob Mueller could do that you would send you in that direction?
I haven't given it any thought.
But Democrats are sounding off.
If this president decides to move against that special counsel, it could erode the rule of law in this country in a way that would be a devastating blow.
Back in August, lawmakers introduced legislation to limit a president's power to remove a special counsel. Senator Cory Booker and other Democrats are renewing calls for Congress to consider those bills. Arlette Saenz, ABC News, Washington.
No one's getting fired at the trapezoid. My lawyer wouldn't let me. So we'll be right back.
It's time to take a road trip.
Alabama's got 100 road trips. And if you love the sun, you're gonna love Mobile, where Mardi Gras is king, and the accommodations will make you feel like royalty. You can take a little drive, explore Dauphin Island, or explore the past. We're talking the USS Alabama. Check out these big guns. Alabama's got 100 road trips. Plan yours at alabama.travel.
Which one you gonna take?
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish! In your face, in your face,
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you.
Welcome back. President Trump goes to Davos to boast about the American economy, but once again, a bombshell story about the president attempting to fire the special counsel steps on his preferred headline. That bombshell, President Trump ordering the firing of the special counsel Robert Mueller back in June, and the only reason he didn't is because his White House counsel threatened to quit. The news stepping on the president's speech and at the World Economic Summit, stepping on the stories about this week, corporations giving workers bonuses as a result of the new tax bill, and stepping on the administration's efforts to save the dreamers and the border wall. And joining us for more is Kevin Griffith, the vice chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Rod Thompson, founder of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Mitch Perry of FloridaPolitics.com. A lot of the .coms represented here today. Rod, let me start with you and what you make if this is true, as the Times reported, and a lot of other news organizations are reporting it as well. Would you have been concerned, whether it is in June or now, if the president fired Mueller?
If he actually fired him, yeah, I'd be deeply concerned.
Why?
I don't think he needs to. I don't think that, I'm not really particularly fearful of the Mueller investigation at this point. When it comes to the Trump collusion one, from all the leaks we saw going on, that seems to have drifted off. It doesn't seem to be that's the focus. It seems to be based on just, what we get, which is only so much. It seems like it's much more focused on obstruction of justice. The Flint charge was obstruction of justice. The Manafort charge was long before he was involved. That was money laundering or something. So what we've seen so far is not a whole lot of there on Trump-Russia collusion, which has been my gut feeling all along. On obstruction of justice, however, that's a whole different issue. And look, you don't lie to the FBI. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, you don't lie to the FBI. That's just stupid and wrong, and that's apparently what Flynn did.
Kevin, your day job is you're a defense attorney.
Yeah.
When you have criminal investigations, let's say a murder case, do you know everything that prosecutors have before they actually make arrest or file charges?
Well, it's important for the whole thing to play itself out, and I would say that firing Mueller are not the actions of necessarily an innocent man, and I find it, frankly, even the thought of it disturbing. But it needs to calm down and let itself play out.
Mitch, how is this playing throughout our entire area? Because, from the get-go, it seems, you ask a lot of the Republicans, they don't care about the Russia investigation. Right. Democrats, their hair is on fire, and you have a whole lot of people in between.
Yeah, and I think, there's so many other things going on with the Trump administration that we are ignoring. You mentioned your setup here that Trump even walked over this, his own policy measures he's talking about now, because although this isn't his intention, because the story came out in the New York Times last night.
Usually it's because of what he said.
Right, or he tweets. Right, in this case, so I think, right, in terms of, I've always said basically, yeah, let's see what Robert Mueller comes up with. Now the thing that's interesting is Trump is always saying that, so attorneys are saying that it's almost over with now, and we don't absolutely know that at all, where it's at in terms of its duration right now. It's been, what, 7 months, or it should be like 7 months, last June. Ken Starr was years in the making, and I know, so, as you said, we're looking at, it seemed like it's directing towards the more obstruction of justice, which is more like after these people getting brought in to be investigated and what they said and where they led this thing. But a lot we don't know, right? Partisans are very much adamant that some Democrats think that Russia basically controlled this election. Others think it's a whole, like Donald Trump says, a whole lot of hooey. And he keeps it going back and forth, though Trump himself does, about, in terms of how secure he is about all this. But it doesn't go away, basically, right? It's always going to come back in our news cycle until Mueller finally delivers a report.
We only have a minute left in this segment, but Rod, no matter what happens with this investigation, are you concerned about the impact it will have on the midterms as of today?
Not particularly. I think everything is being baked into that at this point. Obviously, there's a really long time between now and the midterms, and frankly, since our news cycle is every 13 seconds, who knows what's going to happen between now and then. So I think it's really very hard to figure any of that.
Okay. We have to take a quick break. Sorry, Kevin, but we'll have much more on The Week in Washington right after we check the first alert weather. Stay with us.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live. I live. She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
Losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Our conversation on the week in Washington continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
It's Friday, Alan, and things are changing for the weekend. We are going to look at some clouds increasing on Saturday and then some rain for Sunday. We're going to get to all that in a minute, but a nice afternoon. You talked about it earlier, how beautiful it was today. 78, the high temperature, well above average, and a few clouds in the last few frames you saw there. Weather headlines, here they are. We are going to see variable clouds on Saturday. Showers move in on Sunday, mainly rain showers. Now, it looks like we could see a few isolated thunderstorms, however, in the late afternoon and evening. And now cooler weather will move in for the most part on Tuesday. This area of low pressure that develops in the Gulf will sweep a cold front our way. That cold front will move through on, it looks like, Monday morning, and then the cooler air will take its time arriving. You'll notice a big difference on Tuesday morning of next week. Well, this evening, not a big difference for us, not much of a problem, 63 degrees. And just a few clouds by 11 o'clock tonight, no threat of rainfall. I want to show you the different forecast models for the timing of the event. This is at 10 a.m. and you can see the GFS, which is the United States model there, showing the clouds and showers, basically the rain beginning just shortly after 9 a.m. and then really picking up at 3 p.m. with the heaviest storms to the north of us, where there could be some lightning there. And then as far as the European model goes, a little later in the day on Sunday, we'll start to see some showers filtered in around noon, really start to pick up again around 3, 4 o'clock, and then by 7 o'clock, still widespread rainfall across the state. So everyone's going to get some rain, it looks like, in our in-house model, also showing a little later start to all of it. We'll see it kind of gather here in the northern Gulf of Mexico with the heavier storms over the North Gulf, and then into the Panhandle. There could be some rough storms. This particular model showing some pretty heavy weather moving in just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then continuing up until it looks like 7, 8 o'clock. Now, satellite and radar pictures showing what we have. At the surface, you can see these low clouds right here around the huge area of high pressure. This huge area of high pressure is going to eventually be replaced by a low, but that low is over here right now, and it's an upper level low, and it is bringing some rainfall. I can reverse them there, but upper level low is spinning here over parts of Louisiana. It's all going to kind of head in our direction, and we will see that shower and thunderstorm activity over Florida, with most of it being light rain along the east coast tomorrow. You see that light rain right now on that east wind moving to the west, bringing some showers there. We don't anticipate any of that working its way over. Right now, 69 degrees. The dew point is at 55. That number is fairly high, so our lows tonight will be comfortable. In the mid to upper 50s, we have an east wind at 14. The pressure is way up there, 30, 35, and that continues to rise. High today was 78 degrees. The low this morning was right at the average of 52. Temperature statewide, 40s, 50s, and 60s now. 63 coming in at Key West, 60 in Miami, and Sarasota now at 55 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast looks good. We'll have highs again above average in the upper 70s with a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day. I think more clouds and sun later on in the afternoon, and then we will see a good chance for showers and storms coming back into the weather picture beginning on Sunday midday. Well, here it is, 78 for high tomorrow. Still warm on Sunday despite the clouds and showers. And then 20% chance for a few residual showers on Monday. You'll notice the temperature really dropping down. Highs on Tuesday only in the low to mid 60s. 42 for your start on Wednesday morning. So keep your jackets and sweaters handy. You'll need them by midweek next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair? The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm going to show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Welcome back. We are talking about the week in Washington, and joining us for more is Kevin Griffith, the vice chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Rod Thompson, the founder of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Mitch Perry of FloridaPolitics.com. One other bit of news that came out today, the Department of Justice says it has found all the missing text messages, not only between the two FBI agents and the lawyer involved in the Mueller investigation, but there was some kind of glitch in a lot of text messages from a lot of FBI agents were lost. But Rod, you were making an interesting point that Republicans seem to care more about that issue than, let's say, whether the president was planning to fire the special counsel.
Right. This falls into the two worlds category, and it came up while we were at the break there, and I said, you know, I wanted to talk about the text messages a little bit because that's a big deal to the people in my world. And Kevin said, what are we talking about there? Because he was vaguely familiar with it. So people, basically conservatives and Trump supporters, see the potential of Trump firing Mueller. Yeah, but he didn't do it, so it was like, whatever, not a big deal and all. But the idea of these text messages go to the heart of whether the FBI remained credible and professional in investigating both Hillary Clinton and Trump Russia.
Well,
these two players
here's the question.
Raise that question.
Can both things be of importance?
Yes.
Could whether or not the president fires a special prosecutor be important, and whether or not there were FBI agents.
If I could say, I think if he fired him, huge importance. The fact that you could kind of sum it up as also saying he thought about it, he was told he shouldn't, he didn't, which makes it less of a story.
Well, there is also the greater picture that, as we talked about, that Republicans care less about the Russia investigation than Democrats.
I do think this text message story is interesting. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing or having reporters call through the texts because, we'll find the juicy ones here because there's definitely, there's been a lot of hyperventilating in this past week with Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin saying that what are these secret meetings, what would he call it, the secret society,
yeah, he backed off that, though.
Well, he had to back off, and this is the problem here, where the conservatives are jumping on this before we really know how deep it is. But it's definitely something I want to know what it is, what's going on there, and I'm really I did not know this revelation. They actually found the text because that was another part of the narrative, which is that it's a conspiracy. Now, conservatives want a second special prosecutor. They want to look after Hillary Clinton. Do you want to do that? Or?
No,
okay.
No, because I am deeply opposed to the whole special prosecutor concept. Period.
But even before all this, there was a coordinated effort by the Republicans to diminish the Mueller investigation, and that was all part of a strategy, and this is just part of it playing out from their side.
Well, I don't think that the Republicans had anything to do with FBI agents Strzok and Page and their text messages going back and forth, and how they clearly did know before Hillary Clinton was interviewed that she was going to be cleared, and then how they talked about things with the Trump one and their vitriolic hatred of Trump. Republicans had nothing to do with that. That's all on those FBI agents.
And Robert Mueller fired Strzok when he found out about
Absolutely.
this.
Mueller is not a problem in this at this point.
To you, anyway.
No.
Because you know some of your conservative brethren, he is.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the FBI is underlying and supporting the Mueller investigation. So in that respect, there is a connection.
But the Republicans are diminishing the FBI and the DOJ just for their political purposes.
But you're impugning that on them. I'm saying here's the facts that we know about these texts. This are really and true. And you're trying to spin what they really mean. I'm saying this is the case, and it's something to be concerned about.
Let's talk about two other areas. The president just arrived back at the White House after going for the first time to the World Economic Summit, which, interestingly, he was never invited to. He was a businessman. But he gave a very interesting, powerful speech this morning, making the case of why the tax cuts were just the latest effort to turn around the American economy. But I couldn't help but note a story that came out today that in 2017, the world's billionaires, the richest 2,000 people on the planet, saw their wealth increase by a staggering $762 billion. And a lot of the people who are watching that right now here are saying, and all I'm getting is a $1,600 tax cut.
Right. So when you have a roaring economy and a fantastic stock market, rich people are going to get a lot richer. That's just sort of like gravity. That's going to happen. There's no way around that. I'm sorry, it's the case. The fact that they're only getting a $1,600 tax cut or something, to me, is like saying, okay, the argument is that the tax reductions weren't enough. I am glad to argue on that ground and agree with you. We should have had deeper tax reductions than we did.
Kevin?
Well, I think, I kind of spin this over to the immigration deal this week with the $25 billion for the wall, to build the wall. The Florida economy, I think the entire economy, our budget is $85 billion, and we want to spend all of this money to build a wall. It's just, where are your priorities?
Well, I want to talk about Davos if I could. You mentioned the speech, and it was kind of like the America's open for business speech, but he says one thing, but then again earlier this week we put tariffs on washing machines and solar panels, and basically saying maybe America's not for business with all the rest of the world. Donald Trump is really contradictory on a lot of important things.
That's true, but when you're talking about the solar panel issue, he has an ally in Al Gore, who said this week that we should be promoting domestic production of solar panels and not buying them from China.
Well, I understand that some domestic producers are not happy about this development, but I mean, it's supposed to be for them, actually. It's supposed to be a protectionist measure, certainly. So I think, but it was a really interesting speech because, again, he stayed on teleprompter, right? And it was like the good Trump, which you rarely see. And he basically, but I think a lot of the world leaders really didn't come away with that saying, okay, now we know how to deal with this man. There's been too much other stuff that's come out in terms of trade issues, frankly, that I think are kind of still preventing from what he maybe tried to get across in his speech today, in one speech.
Although he did have an interesting meeting with the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and who, the relationship is a little bit frosty at this point. Although the president did say he would apologize for tweeting that video of the
a rarity.
Look, for the president to apologize, that's pretty big news.
One other area, and that is coming from our former governor, Jeb Bush, who basically said to USA Today that he is warning that Republicans are in for a beating in the fall elections if congressional elections focus on the rhetoric and character of President Trump.
Yeah, and also, by the way, he also criticized Marco Rubio for not leading on immigration. Jeb Bush, do we all want to hear from him right now? I don't know. I mean, he didn't do so well 2 years ago. But yeah, I mean, look, it is so early. We're in January. All trends seem to go for the Democrats have a big year, but yet the tax cuts maybe starting to have some impact with people. There's a lot of money being spent by conservative groups to sell to the public that actually this is a good thing. The stock market, as you mentioned, for the 14% who are in the stock market, things are going well. Although growth today, I think, was announced only at 2.3%. Trump was parroting it should be 3 or 4%. So good economic news, though.
You know, Kevin, it is a reminder that 9 months is a lifetime in politics, and it seems almost that congressional Republicans have almost been girding themselves to the reality that they may well lose the House of Representatives. But a lot of things can change in 9 months.
Certainly can, and I think I hate to say it, but the Republicans were smart when they passed the tax bill in the sense that they pushed all of the benefits in the first couple years. And so they want the voters to see these benefits. The problem is we, the middle class, are going to be paying for this tax cut for years and years to come, but we might not see it in the short term. And of course, that's political expediency on their part.
What about that, Rob? Because you have always been concerned about the budget deficit, which is going to explode like a North Korean atomic bomb right now. But a lot of Americans are saying today, hey, we're getting a tax cut. There's a little extra in my paycheck. Are you concerned what happens in the future when the roosters come home?
I dispute the assertion that it's going to explode in any respect, even like a North Korean nuclear weapon.
The budget deficit will not explode?
$1.5 trillion on a $20+ trillion deficit right now that went up $10 trillion in the past 8 years, and Democrats are unconcerned. They have relocated the deficit, so I'm happy for that. I'm glad that they realize deficit matters, and it does. But if you're talking $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years on $20 trillion, that is not a major amount. Plus, I do believe that if the CBO were able to construct its analysis so that it was more dynamic and allowed for a greater impact on tax cuts on the economy, and the fact that supply-side economics does generally work, it can create more economic activity, and you might not see that $1.5 trillion at all.
I believe that George Bush once called that voodoo economics.
He did in a primary against Ronald Reagan, which he lost.
And let's remember that $10 trillion over the
it was Bush's fault, right?
Correct, because of the war that wasn't paid for and wasn't even put on the books. Remember, we fought Afghanistan and Iraq, and those weren't paid for. And by the way, speaking of Afghanistan,
right? We have less than a minute left, but Mitch, I want to ask you, in terms of your sense of where people are in the area, are they just happy that they got a few extra bucks now?
I think, overall, a lot of people who don't pay hyper attention to politics, it's going to be a plus. I mean, it definitely is look, that was a big plan. The Republicans finally got something passed. They had the House, the Senate, the presidency. That was a major plan they got through. They only needed to get the bare majority of their members to get it. They had no Democratic buy-in. But yeah, it's a plus for them. Should help them out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to talk about the big race, House 72, and the debate in just a couple of days right here at the Trapezoid.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night, or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night, and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
We are problem solvers striving for answers. Relevancy on every platform. We are driven to create content that's compelling, engaging, where it matters. We are neighbors that care about solutions, believers in making a difference, leaders, innovating in an exciting era of multimedia, reaching to always be the gold standard in our evolving landscape. We are Raycom Media. Find your opportunity today.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it,
Drowned it again. And now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking an experienced broadcast engineer to provide technical support for all broadcast equipment. TV broadcast background required. Visit mysuncoast.com/job-of-the-day to apply. ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
Well, we spent a couple of minutes talking about the big race, the special election, H72 here on the Suncoast, and the debate that's coming up in just a couple of days. Mitch, you cover the entire Tampa Bay area. Are people in politics across this area looking at this special election?
Yeah, Democrats really are, because they think this is maybe a barometer, a harbinger of great things to come in November. This is, we saw a poll came out this couple days ago that showed Buchanan up by, what, 3 points? Basically a statistical tie, which was a big revelation, although I know people in the Margaret Good camp have been feeling really positive the last few weeks. The fact that we're having this debate next week, Alan, and you're on the trapezoid here, is a testament to how James Buchanan is feeling the heat, because, of course, he wanted for months not to debate Margaret Good at all. So I think really there's going to be a lot of streaming of ABC7 on Tuesday night, because people are going to really want to see these two candidates together and see how they perform. And it's going to be a big race on February 13th.
Well, here's the question. You know, Tip O'Neill used to say all politics is local, but is it in this case, or is it because of the national mood?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think it is the latter here in terms of you have these special elections. Democrats won one in Miami-Dade last year. That was a real big deal. This is a competitive race. You guys who live down here in Sarasota know this is, the fact that, James Buchanan is even feeling, the heat like this. It was not supposed to be this way. But Margaret Good is a very impressive candidate. James Buchanan, I can't wait to see how the two of them interact, to see what happens.
All right, we have 90 seconds left. Rod, was there some kind of strategic mistake that resulted in the fact that we're having one debate? It's going to be at the trapezoid, and there's going to be a lot of attention to it, as Mitch said, whereas this could have played out in other forums that would have lessened it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a strategic mistake. I think candidates play to their strengths. And so, James Buchanan has a lot of strengths with them, and as does Margaret Good. I think that this is going to be a very close race. I know that the Democrats are passionate about it, and rightly so, and it is a nationalized race, to a degree, because they all are right now in the age of Trump. But I got to tell you, Republicans have really caught fire lately. They are really on it. You see all of the big-name Republicans that are locally and out there and helping and on board. It's becoming a very big race.
So, Kevin, where is the race at in the opinion of the Democratic Party of Sarasota County?
I think we feel like it's there for the taking. And again, Margaret is a stellar, decorated lawyer in town. She's a great candidate. We're really proud of her, and that's what makes it us so passionate about getting out there and getting people to the polls. It's all about turnout. The Republicans will tell you the same. It's all about turnout. So I encourage all those Democrats and non-party people, go vote.
And we'll have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on the GOP tax plan and how it's affecting the middle class on the Suncoast. There have been corporations giving employees bonuses as a result of the new tax plan. Walt Disney, for instance, announced that it's giving 125,000 employees $1,000 bonuses. Other companies are raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. We went to Facebook to hear what some of your thoughts are, and Mark says a one-time $1,000 bonus for a few chosen employees is not going to make much of a difference in their lives. It is also a tiny amount compared to the billions in profits and millions in bonuses given to the CEOs. And Karen says it's a refreshing, positive start for people, no matter how you pick it apart. And if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, it's expired, just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Kevin Griffith is the Vice Chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party. Rod Thompson is the founder of the RevolutionaryAct.com. And Mitch Perry is with FloridaPolitics.com. When we return, we'll have a final look at your First Alert weather. Plus, President Trump spoke before the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Why did he call himself a cheerleader? Stay with us.
For the last decade, S&S Motorsports of Sarasota has built custom high-performance vehicles for demanding clients worldwide. They're now bringing their 50-plus years of combined build expertise to the parts business. SRQ Performance Parts is your one-stop shop for all your performance parts and accessories.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me and me help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android. This is awesome. You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Alan, a beautiful end to the work week, and we're going to see one nice day at least over the weekend. Casey Key webcam showing pretty good beach weather this afternoon. Highs warmed into the upper 70s, well above the average, which is 72 degrees. And it looks like we had a few clouds move in, so the sunset wasn't as spectacular as we've seen. But we are going to see, looks like a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day tomorrow. Temperatures for lows will be into the mid-50s. We'll be in the low 60s by 11 o'clock tonight. And it looks as though no rainfall around here. A few showers along the east coast as a result of a high pressure system there. Well, what's going on? We have a low pressure system in the upper levels of the atmosphere moving across the Gulf of Mexico. On top of that, we have a little trough that's building down. And then this will be a surface reflection over the northeast Gulf late Saturday and travel mainly across North Florida. Now, you see these clouds here. They're moving off to the east while these are moving from the west to the east, kind of colliding right there. Well, these are upper level clouds at 30,000 feet. These are the lower ones. We're talking, 5,000, 10,000 feet right there. And that's a result of this high pressure ridge, which is huge right now, and the winds rotate around this high in a clockwise fashion, so we're seeing that strong easterly wind right into the Suncoast, and that is bringing us the breeze here. We had a lake wind advisory earlier that has since expired, and it looks as though we'll see these high clouds and mid-level cloudiness right through the overnight hours. That will keep us a little bit warmer. We'll see lows tonight into the mid-50s, a little bit above average. That dew point temperature is climbing now at 55 degrees. That east wind is still brisk at 14, and the pressure continues to rise to a very high number, 30, 35, 51 in Jacksonville, 2 degrees warmer in Orlando, and much warmer in Miami and Key West at 63 degrees. Those are dew point temperatures, and that means is the moisture is returning, at least at the surface, too, and in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Tomorrow's forecast Look for a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day. After mid-50s for lows, we'll warm up into the upper 70s above average, and that is mainly due to the east to southeasterly wind flow we'll see throughout the day. Now, the winds were strong today. I don't think they'll be quite as strong tomorrow, and on Sunday morning they'll be out of the southeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. As far as the rainfall goes for tomorrow, no rain here. A few showers along the east coast around that area of high pressure, picking up some moisture from the Atlantic. But here is where the big storms will be. Over the lower Mississippi Valley, and that continues to progress toward the east. Now, this is one forecast model, but it's a pretty good one in-house. It runs every 3 hours or so we'll keep an eye on it, check on it. We'll give an update during the 9 o'clock hour on our Facebook as well as our weather app. So you want to download our weather app. I'll be giving some updates on the rain timing with the new models that are coming out throughout the evening. So this particular model suggesting that we'll get some showers and a few thunderstorms later in the afternoon on Sunday. The rainfall forecast is also hinting at about a half inch for most everyone, and that's pretty reliable right now. I think everyone's going to get some rainfall. The amounts may vary. Some areas only getting a quarter of an inch, I think. Well, here's the 7-day forecast then. Clouds tomorrow, pretty good day, 78 degrees. Not totally sunny for the beaches, but first alert weather day on Sunday. That means disruptive weather will be moving in. And then we'll see a breezy start to Monday. It will be a little bit cooler, 70. But notice the coldest day will be Tuesday and then Wednesday morning at 42. And we'll start to warm up after that. And guess what? Another front moves in on Friday and cools us down for next weekend. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump called himself a cheerleader for America as he delivered the address before the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. He's now back at the White House, and that's where we find ABC's Lana Zach.
President Trump said he had a simple message for the business and global leaders assembled at Davos. America is open for business.
The world is witnessing the resurgence of a strong and prosperous America.
In a wide-ranging speech in which President Trump discussed American tax reform, free trade, the global fight against terrorism, and his success as a businessman, the president stressed that his administration was cutting regulations and recruiting investors.
Now is the perfect time to bring your business, your jobs, and your investments to the United States.
As a private businessman, Mr. Trump was never invited to the gathering of billionaires and globalists at the World Economic Forum, but by most accounts, President Trump was well received. There was one moment, though, when a familiar message from the president was met with disapproval.
And it wasn't until I became a politician that I realized how nasty, how mean, how vicious, and how fake the press can be as the cameras start going off in the background.
The president's tax cuts and promises of deregulation were widely appreciated by this group. And even as there were questions about how he would be received by the Rwandan president following those allegations that President Trump used some harsh words when describing African nations like his, the two men stood together before those cameras at Davos as President Trump called President Kagame a friend. Lana Zach, ABC News, the White House.
The athletic director of Michigan State University is now out. The school has been engulfed in the scandal involving convicted sexual abuser Larry Nassar, who was the athletic program's doctor as well as doctor for the USA Olympics team. MSU athletic director Mark Hollis said he was stepping down. In the statement posted on the school's website, he says he will cooperate with all investigations. MSU's president has also announced this week that she will retire. Michigan's attorney general says he will review MSU's role in the Nassar case. The House of Representatives will take up a bill to protect Olympic athletes from sexual abuse. It comes just days after former USA gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar was sentenced to up to 175 years in prison for sex abuse. Among the other measures, the Protecting Young Victims from Sexual Abuse Act, which would require child abuse among professional athletes to be reported to authorities. It would also create an organization within the U.S. Olympic Committee responsible for handling abuse inquiries and reports. A report tonight that a senior advisor on Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign, who was accused of sexual harassment, was kept on her team against the recommendation of her campaign manager. The New York Times says a female campaign staffer had accused Bernie Strider of harassment, which included inappropriate touching and sending her suggestive emails. Clinton's campaign manager and other senior aides urged Clinton to fire Strider, but Clinton declined. Instead, Strider was punished by having his pay docked, his title changed, and was required to undergo sexual harassment training. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.